Wow, what a roller coaster ride this year was. Um, I'm actually starting to get a kick out of it. To be honest with you, it's starting to be quite amusing how much Satan thinks he can take me out, and then I just get right back on the horse. And the more he does, the more I realize I don't really care about anything he's doing. So it's. I think that's what God's doing here. I think he is just. He's given me thicker skin, and I had really thick skin so to begin with. So it doesn't matter. Praise Jesus, man. All right, so okay, so this video is for the sorry about those who didn't know that inside thing that was just about. But I'm just going to start this video by explaining what happened around 2003. I think it was the summer, July 4th, obviously, is in the summer. But this is a trip that I took to Burlington, Vermont to see the fireworks with a friend of mine who helped me in ministry. Her name was Sharon. There's a few Sharons in my life, just like there's a bunch of Bens doing these in these videos. So whenever I mention those names, just realize they're not all necessarily the same person. Sharon had helped me with a lot of ministries in church that the Lord had me doing from the beginning. And she was a wonderful person. She worked in radio and did a lot of stuff in Vermont and New Hampshire and the Maine area. And so she was very active in the community and just really a great encouragement to me. And so she was the first of many women that the Lord would bring about alongside me to help me with different ministries over the years and be a real just kind of a platonic support and a good friend. But anyway, so Sharon and I were doing a softball ministry that I'm going to do another video on at some point. It was one of the first ones the Lord led me to do after I got saved. We were just doing, softball games in the local community, representing our church, and it was a lot of fun. And God did some stuff. It was pretty cool. So what happened next was essentially one summer. It was like a year into doing the softball thing. We were getting, a little more than halfway through the season, and Sharon wanted to go to see the fireworks in Burlington. She was going to go. She didn't want to go by herself. So they have amazing fireworks display over the lake, Champlain up there. And she asked me if I wanted to go because she didn't want to be by herself. Now, at this time, I was deep in prayer, and I was very sensitive in the spirit to a lot of stuff that was going on around me everywhere. But the Lord told me to go because I needed to do something, and I didn't know what it was. But this time, I'm following different signs, and I'm following the Holy Spirit very closely. And the Lord, he would say in the Spirit, he would just say, "Go." Go. An opportunity would come, he would say, "Go," or he'd tell me, "Just don't do that one." So it was literally like that for a while. And so I went with her. Now, at this time, I was still going through what I called my Jesus hit list. And that was like the first 5 years after I got saved. I had made a list of all these people that I'd either offended or before I was a Christian or had, not gotten along with, or I had just worked with or had any relation with at all that didn't know God. And I wanted to tell them my testimony because I had been an atheist and they knew me as that very angry atheist type of person. Not angry all the time. I had to work, But I tried to have a good time when I could. But I wanted to let them know what had happened to me. And so I realized after a while, it was actually a really good type of way to start getting used to witnessing to people, was to go through my family and then go through, excuse me, my old friends. And then if I could get in touch with them, a lot of them disappeared, like I shared in the Palladium video, and then they would come around and see me one at a time later. But also like old people that old workmates, old people that I'd worked with in the past. So now I had previously worked for a short time, about a couple of years after college, just before I got saved, as a paraprofessional, special educator, working with autistic children and other kids with special needs. The kids love me. The kids like me a lot for some reason. I've never fully understood why. At church, they would call me Mike Wachowski, or the guy from the Monsters Inc. thing. So it was pretty funny. But but I went back and I witnessed to a lot of the teachers. Now, not all the teachers were there at that school that I worked at shortly after college, while I was looking for a full-time history position in a high school, and that never materialized. All the positions were taken in the state. But I did manage to go back, and they let me in the school during lunchtime, and I went and talked to all the teachers I used to work with and told them what happened. A few weren't there, like I said earlier. And now I'm just setting that up because this does play into the story later. So Sharon and I go to Burlington. We see the fireworks. We have a wonderful time. It's like 30,000 people there. And I'm going through the crowd, and I could sense demonic stuff. And that was weird. It was just so many people, and I couldn't pinpoint any specific person. It wasn't like that. But I could sense like certain people in the crowd had something bad. And I literally had to step back and sit down for a minute at one point just so I could kind of soak it all in and get a better perspective. And Sharon was very nice. She was very accommodating. Anyway, we watched the fireworks. That wasn't the issue. The thing that happened was what happened afterwards. So we went to the parking garage while the cars were leaving, and at the end of the night, after the fireworks were completely done, and we're in the parking garage now. There's fumes coming out from everywhere, and the Lord had told me to tell Sharon when we got in the car. He told me to don't go anywhere. So I said, Sharon, can you please wait? Can you wait a little while? And she said, okay, well, we'll wait for the other cars to go. And so we waited for that place to funnel out. We're talking like 45 minutes it took for that whole place to funnel out. In the middle of it, some guy came by and gave us through the window, he gave me like this whole thing of Mountain Dew. It was hot as hell in this place. It was really hot in there. And so this guy had a whole case of Mountain Dew. He wasn't drinking, and he just decided to give it to us. And we thanked him. It was really nice of him. But we waited for 45 minutes, and the cars all went out. Okay. Now, just as we were getting ready to leave, because there was nobody, all the cars had gone except for a few. And just as we were getting ready to leave, she was just like, God is still telling me to wait. She's getting a little antsy. She's like, we got to go home. It's getting late, What happened next was really interesting because it was the last teacher that I hadn't witnessed to yet. It was a man who I had worked with, and he was a homosexual man that we got along really well, and he no longer worked at that school. He'd gone elsewhere, and he was a great teacher. And so what happened was I got out of the car. I saw him and I was like, oh, there it is. That's why I'm here. And Sharon was like, what's going on? And so but she followed me. We got out of the car and he was there, with his parents and his adopted son. And I had a chance. They were very interested in my testimony. So I stood there in the parking garage for like a half an hour and we talked about my testimony and about Jesus. True story. And so that was wonderful. I don't know what happened to him or his family or what was going on there. But it was one of those experiences that showed me that God, he does really care about everyone, and he does really want to reach everyone. Doesn't matter what persuasion they are or what's going on. He wants us to testify to them. He wants to just tell them that he's there. He wants us to tell them what he can do. And he noticed the change in me. He could tell that I was a different person. And so I prayed for him a lot back then after that, and I still do from time to time, along with the other teachers and other people I knew that weren't necessarily Christian. His parents were very impressed. They were amazed that I was witnessing to him there, and was very friendly about it. And Sharon was very excited. We went back to church. The next service, and Sharon was trying to explain to everybody what had happened. And they were like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, he showed up after. So you guys met there? And she was like, no, we didn't necessarily meet there. God had us meet there. And they were like, so you just ran into them? And she said, no. Mike told me to wait. And so we waited. And so we did. And but this is the type of thing God would do. That reminds me, I have to make another quick video after this about the wedding. For the first wedding I went to after I was saved, which is a similar experience. But this one's getting 10 minutes, so God bless. The Angry Prophet, Mike Redeema on Amazon.com. God bless. Bye.